Well, the cruise ship Carnival Triumph finally docked in Mobile, Alabama last night after passengers spent 5 days stranded at sea in dreadful conditions. And that's when the lawyers come in. Mike Winkleman is a maritime lawyer. And Mike, the question is, can they sue?
They certainly can, Megan. First of all, thanks for having me back. Nice to see you. Absolutely, they can sue. Carnival would like to think that their passenger ticket contract somehow makes them bulletproof, but it certainly does not.
Why not?
Carnival tries to waive. Why not? Well, number one, they try to waive class actions. They try to make you go to arbitration. So instead of a judge deciding it, having an arbitrator paid for and chosen by Carnival. But ultimately, we are going to file a class action suit related to this. I've already spoken with numerous passengers that were severely affected by this.
What's their beef? What's their beef? Because some of the passengers said, look, you know, obviously we're not happy that there was a fire in the engine room and we lost power and this happened, but the Carnival crew that were on board the ship were great. So what's their beef?
Megan, their beef is being forced to be trapped on this floating toilet for 5 days when Carnival could have just turned the ship around and gone back to Mexico and flown them back. When they were off the coast of Mexico, they were 150 miles away from Mexico, and they were 500 miles away from Alabama. Cruise director gets on there and says, the reason why we're not going to Mexico is we can't afford it. So their beef is basically intentionally being forced and subjected to 5 days of really what is disgusting stuff that no one should ever be forced to do. But the one thing I do agree with is the crew is great. The crew is always great. But it's not the crew that's ultimately responsible for this. It's Carnival, it's their policies, it's their procedures, it's their corporate office.
Why was it too expensive to go back to Mexico?
I believe it was too expensive to go back to Mexico because they would have to fly back 3,000 people from Mexico as opposed to putting them on a bus to Galveston, Texas. I'm not in the airline business, but I know flying from Mexico is a heck of a lot more expensive than it is to take a bus from Mobile to Galveston.
We're just getting a newswire from Reuters saying one passenger has now officially sued over, quote, horrifying conditions. And it's really gross. I mean, basically, the toilets were completely overflowing and people had to walk through it and and it went downhill from there. Does Carnival settle this thing, you think, Mike?
You know, the entire system is designed to encourage settlement, so I would be surprised if it didn't settle. Of the cases that we handle, and we handle many of them and have since 1971, long before I was born, but the vast majority settle. No reason to think differently. And important, Megan, is that with the Concordia case, they offered every single person that was on there $14,000, even if they were uninjured.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting to compare the two.
Right. These people are getting $500 and a free ticket, none of which they want. All right, Mike, thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around. We'll be right back.